Hi everyone, on today's video I have a bit of a different thing. Well, I should also go for hi, welcome back, but I'm just going to dive straight into this. I just feel like this is going to be a very helpful video for some of you and also for me, because right now I am, in terms of notebooks and notebook systems, I just can't seem to stick around and find something that actually works for me. So if you are like me and you are not even just thinking so much ahead as of 2025 and you just want to figure it out, what works best for you and redefine again your journaling purpose and find out what works best for you, that's great. This is something that I feel like is going to help you a lot. If you already have a notebook system that works for you until the end of the year, but you're still confused as of what you want for 2025, this also can help. And if you are lucky and you already have your journaling system, set, I feel like you also be migrating, and there are a couple of questions here that can also help you with that. So first off, I'm just going to explain a bit more on what this is and why I'm doing this. The questions are here. There are more questions in the back. Then I can take a moment for you guys just to take a print. Is that how you say it? A screen print, a picture of this, and if you want to do that on your own and just do it easily and then come back to this video, that's okay. But then I'm also going to explain a bit more in depth about the questions here. Another two tips, one of them is not a tip but something that I need to say, is that I wrote these questions late last night, so if there are any mistakes, just ignore them. Another thing that I also need to say is that when you're doing these questions, take those that work for you and don't answer the ones that you don't really identify with. But when you're answering these questions, do not go with a notebook or a system in mind. Just answer them generally, and then you will hopefully have a clue on the direction that you need to follow. I feel like the goal here is that you don't work for your notebooks. Your notebooks and your systems need to work for you. And that is my goal and what I want to find here. It is a system that works for me. And so that's what we're going to do. You can take a screen print of these questions. I'm going to leave it for a couple of seconds. And now there are more here in the back. They are divided into 3 categories. And if you are like me and you need a little bit more guidance, that's what I'm going to do right now. I am not so sure if then I will answer some questions here on video, or if I'm just going to come back when I already have the answers. I advise you to not maybe answer it on your journal, that you're using right now. Maybe use a blank paper, blank page, something completely different, something completely aligned from your system that can also help you not be so biased. I'm not sure if that's the word, but you know what I mean. Just completely, I feel like this is a reset, redefining our purpose and redefining what works best for us. So without further ado, I'm just going to get started. The first category here, I forgot to say one thing. This is kind of a bit long and chatty video, so maybe just make yourself a drink of your choice. And yeah, let's get started. So like I was saying, the first category here is purpose, and I wrote here redefining our purpose. Before we even start thinking about our current purpose, which is the second question, I feel like it's important to go back to the past. Why did you start journaling, and what materials did you use? maybe you were like me and you started with just this easy journaling system. I started kind of doing some different things, but I only used this one notebook, and I didn't even think of changing at the time because I didn't know anything else. So I feel like it's also important to understand, the materials that you used then and the materials that you use now. How did this development happen? So, but the most important question here is, why did I start journaling? And then, what is my current purpose for journaling? I feel like this one is very self-explanatory. But when answering this question, do not go like, for example, write down, I want to journal commonplace and plan. Maybe your current purpose, is to then go back to look at your year and see it clearly in one notebook. Or maybe your purpose is to be more organized and more productive. This is kind of what I mean with this question. The third question is, what are the things, spreads, tracker, pages that aid that purpose? Now, if this is where you go into more specific things. For example, let's imagine that your purpose is to learn. Then the spreads that you're going to use most often are the ones from Commonplace and maybe a couple of different trackers. Maybe your purpose is to be more organized, then you may need a monthly tracker or a weekly page, maybe a habit tracker. Just think about how those spreads and trackers and pages, what you need to align to those purpose without even thinking of a notebook. We're not there yet, okay? So once you have set your purpose and you understand now more or less, what you may need, then we can start and think about our system and our notebooks. And also this question here, I feel like is very important. What was the system notebook that I used the longest and why? What was the system that worked best for you the longest? This can also give you a clue on to understand why it worked, and maybe you can replicate that with your current purpose, or maybe you can understand why you like it so much, and then it can also help you set up a new notebook or a new system. And what are the spread pages that I use the most? Now think about your notebooks and all of that, and think about what are the spreads and the pages that you go back to the most, the ones that are most likely complete and the ones that you redo the most. Or for example, if you are in a planner, the ones that you go back to the most. Then we have, what are the system notebooks that I have used in the past that didn't work? Why? Once again, be very honest here. And basically what I mean by this is that maybe you could do even a list of, for example, I have used a ring binder and it didn't work for this, and this, and that. And maybe this can also be a good reference in the future when you're starting to get, maybe I want to change. Go back to this question and realize why that didn't work, And then, what are some spreads, pages, ideas that I want to let go? This can also go with the alignment here. They are the pictures that you use the most, and then they are the spreads, pages, ideas. And with ideas, I mean, maybe it can be an ideal, is that how you say? Ideal thing that you're searching and that you want, maybe that is not exactly what you need. So that can also be the kind of thing that you choose to focus on this question. And then, what are my journaling pet peeves? When I say this, for example, for me, I don't like when the for example the dots or the grid go up to the line of to the end of the notebook. It is not massive. I could live with that, but it's not something that I enjoy. And the more specific that you are with this and this question that I'm going to focus on now, I feel like the more that you can understand what kind of notebooks and systems will work for you. When, for example, if you're looking to purchase something, having this in mind, even if you really like the cover or you really feel like maybe it will be fun to try out this system, it is important to have always these two in mind. For example, what are my journaling non-negotiables? I need my journals to close, or to have a cover that closes, because for me, and this is a question that you'll see later on, is I take my journals with me when I go out and I cannot have them open in my bag. So this is a non-negotiable for me. You need to figure it out. What are those for you? And then what are my favorite journaling supplies? Once again, very important, because let's say that you use a fountain pen, then maybe it really is, you need to figure it out, a system that has maybe a thicker paper that doesn't bleed through, or maybe you really like to paste and to cut and to put a lot of things in your journal and they will get bulky, and if that's what you want, that's what you like, that's perfect. But if it is not, maybe you need to figure it out, a system that has less pages and that you can switch up more often so they don't get so bulky. I feel like, having in consideration your journaling supplies is also very important. And then, what are my favorite journaling creators? Why? This question can help you understand, for example, the things that you like on their notebooks and why do you like them? Do you like them just because they look good? Or is it something that you feel like, or a system that you feel like could work for you, and why? The why is... you need to figure it out, the why. What are the things I am not so happy about in my journal? I feel like this one is also pretty self-explanatory. And then, what are some spreads idea statics that I want to add? This can also go into this one, what are my favorite journal creators and why? Because then you can understand if there is things that you want to let go and things that maybe you need to add, another tracker that you want or something like that. Then we have a different category, which is time and money. Where do I usually journal, and do I take it outside with me? Now, this question can help you understand what kind of protection does your notebook need, or what kind of, for example, if you take it outside with you often, you cannot really have a heavy notebook. It's not ideal, or a heavy system, or you need something that is streamlined so you don't have to take a lot of things with you. But maybe if you just use it in your desk, that's not a problem that you need to think about. So this can also understand, all of these questions can help you understand then what is the best way to go with when you're choosing your notebook and your system. Now, how often do I realistically journal? For example, let's say that when you arrive home from work or university or whatever it is that you're doing, you are tired, you don't want to journal, that's totally fine. It is not the number of times that you journal that define if you are someone in the journaling community or not. What I mean by this is that maybe you can only realistically journal on the weekends. That's when you have time, that's when you can relax, just sit down and journal. Then I don't personally think that it makes sense that maybe for you to have a dated planner, kind of like the Hobonichi Avec or the Hobonichi Cousin, where you have a day per page. Maybe that's not a system that will realistically work for you. And with that, we can also have at what time of the day do I journal. This can also be important to align with your purpose. For example, if you are kind of doing some memory keeping, maybe at the end of the day, it works best for you to journal. Or maybe if you are trying to plan your day, plan your week, and be more organized and productive, maybe it works best for you to do that in the morning or the night before the day. If you understand at what time of the day do you journal, it can also help you to understand more your practice. And now, how much time do I spend journaling? If you only spend if you have the patience to journal for 10 minutes each day, that's already great. But then it doesn't really make much sense for you, for example, to have an A5 Hobonichi, a daily Hobonichi Cousin. You'll have all of those blank pages and blank spreads, and then you'll grow frustrated. And then how long do I want my journal to last before changing? And then I have here pages. Now, if you are someone who wants that sense of completion, there are people that have a journaling that goes for the first 6 months of the year, and then the other 6 months they use a different one. But maybe you need that sense of completion before that, so maybe you should choose a journal with less pages so you can switch up more often, or maybe a journal that is not so expensive so you can switch up more often. And then the final question, the last but not the least, is how much do I want to spend on journaling supplies? I feel like this is also a question that can help us be more realistic with the things that we're doing and the kind of things that we're going to use to aid our journaling practice, you know. If you are someone who has a big budget for journaling, that's great. I love that for you. But if you are someone who really doesn't, maybe you need to consider that you need, for example, journaling supplies that last longer. For example, stickers, you use one and then they are done. You cannot really use them again. But another thing that kind of is a bit of more of an investment are stamps. You just need the ink and the stamp, and you can use them multiple times. You don't even have to buy them. They will always work for you. So in the end, they end up being maybe more expensive. One stamp can be more expensive than a sticker sheet, but the quantity of times and the quantity of use that you have from it, you know, maybe it will work best for you. So I feel like that's also an important question to keep us realistic. So these are the questions that I suggest for you. And now, like I said, you take the questions that you feel like work for you. You may add some, you may take out some, but I just feel like maybe right now you're happy in your system, and this video doesn't, you don't need this video, but in the future, maybe this can also help you when you're struggling a bit. So what are we going to do now? First, I'm going to have a sip of my tea. And now, I just feel like, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but I feel like I'm going to stop this first talking segment. I will answer some questions off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll see. So go ahead, grab your tea, grab the questions here, maybe paste some, just write some on a blank page, and just let's figure this out together. Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope that by the time that you're watching this segment of the video, you already have answered your questions and came up with a conclusion. I have also come up with my conclusion, and the notebook that I will be using from now on is the Leuchtturm notebook. And I guess that it really shouldn't be a surprise because I have used these brands for a really long time, and it's the notebook that I am most comfortable with, and it is also the one that goes more with everything that I have written down that I need and want in my system. And what I am going to do is redefine it a little bit. I want to get a more of a minimalistic approach, to be honest. So I'm not sure if I'm going to set up anything now, because I do need to set up, if you hear my cat, I'm sorry, but I do need to set up the month of September here. So I guess that this will be the notebook that I will stick out for the rest of the year. And there are some things that I want to set up here. And to be honest, maybe I'll do it in the video. That could be fun. Basically, I'm on page 115. This one is 116, but I have still a page left before this one. I did some journaling yesterday, and I have about 120 pages left. So I don't think this will last me until the end of the year. I kind of was hoping that it did, because then I could really just start over in 2025. But I don't really think that it will, so we'll see. But still, I'm going to do the setup. So another thing that I figured out when I was doing this, just realizing what I want my journaling to be like, I realized that something that could probably work better for me long term will be to have more stamps and buy less stickers. Because it was something like I was saying a little bit ago. I really like washi tapes. One of my pen pals gave it to me, and I really like it. If you're watching this video, thank you. I really like these washi tapes, and washi tapes just last longer, and stamps, I don't even need to say it, they do last so much longer. And I just feel like it is more practical for the approach that I need to have right now. So Okay everyone, I just did this setup and I'm really happy with it. I am now going to stop the video here because I feel like it has been going for long enough. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope that the questions have helped you somehow, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye everyone.